Hello and welcome to M Suite powered by Mickey Growth, your CRM tool. So what we are going to do today is overview some of the quick start areas that you need to know and you need to set up right away in order to maximize your initial usage of M Suite CRM. So what we're going to do here is, as you can see, we've started on our dashboard for our brand new account. Everything is blank because this is your brand new account. We're going to go ahead and set some things up from scratch here to make sure that we are good to go. Now, what I'd like to point out is a few areas of interest. As we do have on the left-hand side, we've got our navigation screen. At the very top, you'll see your account name. And then as we come down, we've got the dashboard, which will be full of useful information as we continue to use the CRM. The other piece of it is conversations. This is where you'll see all communication with contacts, whether that be by email, SMS, or social media. Calendars. This is going to host your calendars. You'll be able to see appointments from here. You'll also be able to access your calendar links to go ahead and schedule new appointments. And in addition, the settings to connect and integrate with your calendar or calendars, should you choose, are also located here. More on all that in future videos. Now the contacts, as we continue down, contacts is your classic CRM view. This is where everybody you've come in contact with is going to be stored. First name, last name, phone number, email, notes that you might have, upcoming appointments, what they've purchased from you and when. It's all going to be in here. Opportunities. Opportunities is a really powerful tool. Think of these as your pipeline. And in fact, as we click in here, they are called pipelines. And there's two of them that have been pre-made for you to really ensure you've got a quality experience. For our Notary M Suite CRM, we have the business development pipeline. And you can see I can change this with the drop down at the top left corner. Starting with new leads, working our way through, have they referred to us? Have they left us a review? And for some of them, have they gone cold? Really strongly recommend you not put people in cold lead unless absolutely necessary. There certainly are some people who are going to warrant that, but don't be quick to pull the trigger on moving people there. We want to leave them to will refer or new lead. This is going to allow the system to automate, to continue to follow up with them and ensure that you have the most efficient system. Now, the signings pipeline. This is where we're making revenue directly. So we've got services requested. Somebody has asked for you to sign something for them or to come out to their meeting. The appointment confirmed. This is where we've confirmed, yes, we plan to attend, whether that be in person, virtual, etc. Rescheduled. Sometimes it happens. Completed. Cha-ching, we have completed that signing, and appointment canceled. Unfortunately, sometimes, as we know, things cannot be rescheduled, so they'll get pushed into canceled. It's as simple as that. We want it to be easy to use, but extremely powerful. There's automations behind all this that are going to make each of these very, very effective for you. So that is the pipelines. Now, continue on down, we've got marketing. And inside of marketing, we've got the social planner. Now this will look a little different once we've connected some accounts. I recommend at least two. Most people have Facebook and Instagram at a bare minimum. Likely have LinkedIn, and you may have some others. So we'll walk through how to connect those at a later date. These are going to be really helpful to you in ensuring that we are able to not only create posts and post right away, but also to schedule posts for a later date. Now up here at the top banner, we can see the other navigations. I want you to also focus on emails. Now, as this loads, these email marketing campaigns, we're going to have some sample data, which you'll be able to clear out should you choose. And once you've created your first campaign, we'll certainly want to clear out the sample data. But as we can see, it will show us very useful information such as open rates and click-through rates. So we see what is it that we're dealing with here. Now, in here, as we go campaigns, you'll be able to create a new campaign and actually create your first email marketing system. So we want to go ahead and create those, send those out, make sure we're engaging not only our power base, not only our leads, but everybody we come into contact with. This email campaign is also where you can do an email newsletter. So you might consider doing that in the future. Automations we'll skip over for now. That's all been created for you. We don't need to worry about it. Now in the sites page, I do want to draw your attention to website. You have a pre-made templated website ready to go with a home, link in the bio to interact with your Instagram primarily. Services, so we can talk about what it is we offer. About us, we can introduce ourselves to our prospective buyers and referral partners. And then, of course, testimonials, because we know social proof is extraordinarily important to us. So these are the big things to focus on here. Now, as well, we are going to have reputation. Reputation is where we'll be able to manage, do we have reviews? And as you can see, in the Get Started guide here, it wants us to connect to a couple different areas. Two that I typically recommend are Google My Business, so that your Google reviews are connected and managed here, as well as your Facebook reviews. Now that's a brief overview of the dashboards here. Now, next thing I want to cover is what are we going to actually set up? Now that we've done the overview, we're going to talk in our next video about what to set up so that we are ready to launch. Excellent. So continuing on, now we're going to get into some of the customizations you're going to want to complete to ensure your profile is ready to go. On our left-hand side navigation bar, we're going to go all the way down to the bottom to the gear icon where it says settings. Go ahead and click there. Now, as we load here with the settings, you're going to see there are business profile settings. And what we can do here is go ahead and start entering in some of this information. So for example, you may have a business logo you want to upload. You go ahead and pull in one of our M Suite logos. We'll go ahead and upload. We would want one, pick a different one here. That's going to be rectangular. If you don't have a logo already, you can go ahead and skip this step. But of course, you may very well have one ready to go. And in that case, we'll want to go ahead and input it here. So perfect. Here's a horizontal one. We'll go ahead and go with that. Now the business name, you're going to want to rename this to your business name. If you have an operating name that's separate from your legal name, that's fantastic. You're going to want to put the legal name in legal business name section so that when we go to do some of our compliance registration, particularly for our phone number, we have everything that matches up. You're going to want to match that to your EIN if you have one. Now, business email, of course, we'd want to go ahead and enter that in with your personal information. If you've got a domain, we'll talk on that next. The website, this is going to be really important that you put in the website address you'd like to use. If you're not sure, don't worry about it right now. Business niche, most likely we're going to stay Notary Public. Once you've gone ahead and entered that information, scroll back up, double check that you're happy with it, and go ahead and click update information. And as we can see here with the phone number, we do want a country code. So if you are in the United States, it is going to be +1 and then your number. We'll go ahead and put in our M Suite number here. So we'll go ahead and hit update information. Perfect. That's going to save it. That's all it needs, and it is saved. Now on the right-hand side, we've got a physical address. Again, we want to match this to our EIN. So if you have an EIN, please go ahead and use the address on record. It's going to be part of your verification. So go ahead and select that. We'll go through, fill out the rest of the information. Do double check your time zones correct. This is an extremely crucial step as we go to the calendars. If this is wrong, your calendar will have all sorts of issues. You'll wonder why. We're here to support you, but please pay special attention there so that we can be proactive in preventing it. Language, if you have a preference there outside of the default English United States, we can go ahead and do that. Now again, once you've entered the information, go ahead and hit update. It's going to save that for you, and now it is in our record. Now, business information. This is where we're going to drop in our compliance, right? So we want to match this up. So for example, many people have a limited liability company, LLC, or sole proprietorship. If you use on your taxes your own individual personal tax return and you have that Schedule C business filing, that's a sole proprietorship, so you'd want to select here. If you have an LLC, you should know that, and we'll go ahead and select that as well. If you have one of the other business entity types, go ahead and select the appropriate one. Now, business industry, again, is not going to be in this one, so what we can do is scroll on down. Likely going to select real estate. You may find one that's more appropriate to you. Maybe it'd be banking, consumer. So you go ahead and select that as you will. Now here, if you're in the US, you likely have an EIN, so you'll want to go ahead and put that there. And then you'll go ahead and enter in that information with that number as you file for your taxes and all your other registration. If you're a sole proprietor and you use your own Social Security number, so you do not have an EIN or an employer identification number, then you would go ahead and select this checkbox. My business is not registered. For most people, that won't apply, so please go ahead and enter your EIN here. As a note, we do also want to put the region of operation, but the key thing is here, this information is private to you. This is simply so that we can go ahead and do the reporting and compliance, particularly for your email, your calling, texting, and voicemail. It's going to be really crucial for those items. Now here, authorized representative, this is going to be whoever's in charge of the business. So if we have one employee and that happens to be me, myself, and I, it's going to be your information put in here. Job position, go ahead and select the one that you think fits best. And then, of course, when we're done with that, we'll hit update information once again. Very, very simple through this point. Now there are some yellow dialogues here. Don't worry so much about those. These settings have moved. That's all right. We're not too concerned. We'll go through in more detail some of these more advanced settings as we go forward. But a couple that are automatically checked that I do want to draw your attention to. Verify email address when first email is sent to a new contact. This is great to ensure you're not sending a bunch of emails to nowhere. I would encourage you to leave that checked and make email compliant by adding an unsubscribe link. Again, I would encourage you strongly to leave that on. You can customize this messaging if you'd like to change it by hitting customize here on the right hand side. But again, I'd encourage you to leave that checked just to ensure that we're compliant with most rules and regulations. Now that is your responsibility to understand the laws, regulations that you fall under in your state and your jurisdiction. However, by default, this is going to make you compliant in most spaces. Not legal advice. We've got to put the asterisk there. But that being said, just leave it checked. Generally speaking, that's going to be the best case. Now, duplicate contacts by default is turned off. You may, for whatever reason, decide you do want to allow them. If that's the case, you would toggle that dialog. And then if we're looking for duplications, it will first look for email and second by phone. Now, if you'd prefer, you can change that to phone, and then you could do email or you could do none. So basically, that is our key data. What is it that we're looking to see? Do I have two of the same person? Now, in that second preference, we may have multiple emails, but phone numbers likely won't change quite as often, so we have that second preference. If you don't care to have that, don't feel the need to use that setting. Now, the next piece we're going to move on to is going to be billing. Now, in billing here, this is going to have to do with going ahead and making payments. So what you'll want to do is go ahead and hit add payment method. This payment method then is how you'll go ahead and make continuing payments for your subscription. Very likely this will already be completed and we won't have to make future adjustments. Now here in the My Staff, don't worry so much about this. If you do end up purchasing more users, you'll have access to this section. The rest here of the settings on the left, really the only ones we need to be concerned about are calendars, email, and phone number. So calendars, while that's loading, this is going to be where we can connect to our calendars. So it's going to be really crucial to help with us. Now we see we do have a couple, to be exact, calendars pre-made for you. And the reason it's marked inactive is we haven't hooked up an actual calendar to it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Again, we want to get you started and operating just as soon as possible. Now here we can go ahead and connect a calendar. And In this instance, I'm going to hit Add New. I do prefer to use a Google Calendar, but you can see iCloud, Outlook, or if you use Calendly, you can do that as well. So let's go ahead and connect a Google Calendar. Now, you will get a dialog. The dialog is going to be hidden from this video for you guys. However, you'll get a pop-up. If you're already signed into your Google accounts, you'll just select the one that you want to continue with. Once you've gone ahead and selected that, it's going to tell you what lead connector is requesting access to do. You go ahead and hit continue to proceed with the setup. And then again, you'll get one more notification particular to your calendar. Once again, hit continue to proceed. Now that's going to go ahead and go to your calendar and start talking with it. This is the magic. Very quickly, we've already got it registered, and bam, just like that, our M Suite, in this instance, Gmail, is now hooked up as a connected calendar. Now there's a couple other things that we can do here, including we can do video conferencing. By default, Google Meet, if you use a Gmail, will be turned on. If you hit Add New, you can choose other options, for example, Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Let's go ahead and navigate back though. So we're going to come back to our calendars. We can see that it is connected, and we've got the green check mark, which means successful. Now, the next component is calendar configuration. So what this is showing is the linked calendar is the calendar that is going to sync with, which means by default, it will read your calendar for your availability. And as people book appointments or you create appointments within the CRM, it will then mark you as busy in your calendar of choice. Now, different from that are conflict calendars. A conflict calendar is only looked at for your availability. So for example, we've got the M Suite calendar set up for a conflict. I may have another calendar I want it to look at. So I can go back up to the top, connect calendars, add new, and then I would select the other calendar I want to look at. Maybe it's the iCloud, because that's where me and my wife keep our family appointments. I want to make sure I don't double book myself with something for the family. You could do that here, and then just go ahead and select that it's a conflict calendar only and not linked. You can only have one linked one, so that'll be pretty easy for you. Now the other piece here is there's the private mode for synced events, which means only you can see your calendar invites, others won't be able to. I'd encourage you selecting that in positive just to be sure that your privacy is maintained. So just like that, now your calendar is going to be set up. Now that we've done that, if we go from connections back to calendars, our calendars are still going to be inactive. Now to go ahead and remedy that, we're going to want to go to Edit Calendar, which is the pencil. And we can see that this is all set up here. We may have some adjustments we want to make. If you want to have a custom URL, maybe it is with Gary, you can do that. We can also change the name, we can upload logos, all sorts of fun customizations, and you can even choose what color it will show up in your calendar. Of course, you can customize your availability if you want to be available at different times of the day. And we can also do some other adjustments here. We won't worry too much about those. The defaults are going to be acceptable for most all people. Now, as we continue on through, you've automatically got some things turned on as far as reminder emails, things of that nature. And these have been pre-customized for you, so you don't have to worry too much about those. And then customization, you can choose how you want it to look, whether you want the classic style or a nicer, more neo. I encourage you, use the neo, and if you hit preview widget, you'll be able to see the difference between the two and make your decision. So once that's done, we can go ahead and hit save. We'll go back out to our calendar list. We'll hit more options, and we're going to hit activate calendar. What this is going to do is turn it on. We can now use this link so that people can meet with us. Now we can see this is the 30-minute. It's personal, which means it's going to look at your calendar. And to go ahead and give that link to somebody, there's the little arrow here. Looks like a little send arrow next to the pencil, which was edit. And we want to use the scheduling link. So you go ahead and just copy that. Once it copies to your dashboard, you can paste that into anything you'd like, whether it be an email, a text message, a direct message. You can even go elsewhere and navigate to Facebook directly, anywhere you'd prefer. Go ahead and drop that in. So that is how we do it. Now what you will do as well is go ahead and duplicate that step of activating with our other calendars. Now, these calendars are set up for remote signings and in-person signings. Depending on what you choose to offer, you will want to go ahead and customize these to your preference. Alrighty, excellent. That is the information for calendars. Now, the next component, email services. Another crucial piece. We want to be able to communicate with people. So we can create a dedicated domain that's a little more advanced. We'll talk on that at a later time. I encourage that it is a positive thing, but we don't need to do it. Now, by default, we are going to use the lead connector system, and this will be affected primarily by the domain that you go ahead and link to. Now, phone numbers. Phone numbers are something that's really crucial. You can go ahead and make calls and text messages via SMS through the CRM. So to go ahead and do that, you would do add phone number. You would tell it what you'd want to use it for. So for example, add phone number. If you want to mask your caller ID, you can do that option. You can also use a pool number. Most often, you're just going to do add phone number. By default, it's going to look for the United States, and then it will make some suggestions. Now, what we can do as well is we can filter, and we can use a particular component. So say you want a Detroit phone number. We could use 313 and hit apply. And now it's going to go ahead and search for numbers that are available that are going to show up as a Detroit phone number. Now you can see here on the right-hand side, these pricings are extremely cheap. Try and get Verizon, T-Mobile, or another major carrier to match that price. Good luck. So this is a really powerful tool for yourself as well as for others. And once it's connected, we'll do a little further setup video about how to go ahead and forward that to your phone so that you make sure you don't miss a navigation or a notification ever. We'll also have to do a little bit of work to get our text set up, but once you've got the number, you're immediately available to make calls. Now, as we come on down, domains on our left-hand side under other settings now, we're going to go to domains. Now, here you have an option. If you do not already have a domain, and a domain means a something.com or .io, if you own mynotarycompany.com, then we're going to connect it. If you do not own that whatsoever, you can go ahead and purchase one through here. So let's go ahead and view purchase just to see how this goes for you. So you're going to be able to search for whatever you want. So let's do mynotarycompany.com. We'll go ahead and search, see if that happens to be available. And in fact, it is. Now we can buy it for $12 a year, and you will now own mynotarycompany.com. Might be a good investment. Might be a good investment. Now, if we do already have one, I went too fast. Let me go a little slower. Then we'll go on the right-hand side to connect domain. And this is where you'd want to hook up. So if we have a domain that we've previously hosted a website, we want to connect through there. What's cool here is once you put in your domain and continue, it will then try and connect. If you use GoDaddy or some of the other major hosts, it will go ahead and find it for you automatically. Likewise, if you've got an email domain, we go ahead and connect those two, and that way your custom email will come through. So whether you've got an email domain for your company or not, you can go ahead and use that function, especially if you've got it already existing. With that then, these are the major settings that you're going to want to go ahead and complete. Again, starting with business profile, which really is our personal information, making sure that we know who we are for the system's purposes and that we can meet our compliance registrations, and then moving through those other settings we went through. Once you've done all these, congratulations, your CRM is now functional.